Sif's blood. Barely survived that encounter. I'll bring you a new transmission. Vode An.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Vode An. Today we are talking about two stories. We're talking about a Yondo book. We're continuing with the Book of Boba Fett. The Boba Fett Yondo series. And Star Wars Tales number 14. We're reviewing a story from that series. So, just like we did last episode, and we're probably going to do this for the future, Tidus is going to, after I guess I introduced it or whatever, Tidus is going to take, a minute or so to actually talk about it since he's the brains behind the series. So,
Fang.
Tidus, take it away.
Take
it away.
Oh yeah, take it away, man. Come on.
Take it away.
The thing is, I can't really say too much about Maze of Deception because the book, my introductions, I just want to speak on what is affecting the Clone Wars itself and kind of like how's each story adding to the conflict. Maze of Deception does not really add much to the conflict. I guess it does in one way, but we can talk about that more in the story content. I do want to talk about Star Wars Tales issue 14 because for those who are watching, Star Wars Tales, of course, is nebulous and its continuity. A lot of stories are non-canon, some are canon, and there's really no clear answer unless it's like the last 5 or 4 issues where it's like I think all of those are for the most part canon. And there's really no canonical basis for the story Tides of Terror, where like a nanovirus gets into the clones and Kit Fisto and Ayla Secure have to crack the case. The only thing that really canonically confirms it though is the New Essential Chronology. Beyond that, I don't even think there's any source, not even the Essential Guide to Warfare in its section on bioweapons brings this up. It's always the this is gonna be a light spoiler for Hard Contact Republic Commando, but not really. The main plot in that book is that they're trying to stop a nanovirus from killing the clones, much like what's happening in Tides of Terror. It's just that that one is referenced a lot more in sources opposed to the Star Wars Tales comic. Basically, that's just all I wanted to say about it. Is that it is, I think it's a significant event, but it's like not referenced anywhere. It's kind of like the Dark Reaper project and Battlegrounds, Galactic Battlegrounds in a sense, where it's like it's significant, but it's not really referenced anything just by happenstance. But we can get on to the book now, Lance.
All right. Also, if you guys did not notice, Scott is here with us today. So he's no longer a special guest. He is now he's a brother.
Be an occasional guest. No guarantee that I could do every episode.
That is true.
As of right now, I'm on. Happy to be on.
Yeah, Scott will when we do a lot of smaller stories that are take a couple hours to read, maybe even less than that. He'll join us. So, welcome back, Scott.
Thank you.
Let's get on. Let's get on to this mid of deception of a book here. The mid of deception. So, I usually start it off, but Ken, I'm gonna let you start off today. What were your general thoughts on the book?
Well, Maze of Deception, certainly a title. This book was a Maze of Deception for me because this book was middle of the fucking road. What it just felt, this whole book, honestly, just felt like a simple fetch quest. Like it just felt like a fucking video game level. Like you get young Boba Fett, it goes to this planet. Oh, you gotta go through customs, gotta put away your weapons. That gives him an opportunity to run away. But Zora Singh has to go fucking put her shit away back on Slave One, and he just like runs away. It's like all this could have been like. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's no guarantee. Like, he could have got what he wanted. He's still stuck with Aura. I mean, I feel like she's gonna screw him over at some point, like for real this time. And it's a moot point now, that he's out in the open, going to Tatooine. But this whole book just felt like a video game level to me. Just going through, like talking to the NPCs. You got the Claude he runs into, he screws him over. And then the fucking, I'm just gonna, this guy is a security guard, I guess, working for Sam Hill. But,
Yep.
Just felt like a video game level. I don't got much to say. I guess okay. There is one thing. I guess on a deeper level is felt kind of strange to me how quick Boba Fett manages to figure out like, oh, like Dooku helped commission the clone army, and like why is he working for the Separatists? Is he playing both sides? It just felt weird that like an 11-year-old child is able to figure that out.
Well, I mean, he knew Dooku was behind it.
I mean, yeah, true, but it's like just putting all the pieces together and going into more like I guess depth about it in his mind just felt weird.
I mean, yeah, I will say this book compared to the last two, Bulba is focusing on the fact that Dooku and Tyrannus are the same more than the other books. Like, it'll kind of just mention it, even though it has nothing to do with what's going on. Dooku's not even in the book.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Boba Fett's focusing on this way too much than like, I don't know, he should be focused on, I don't know, getting his father's fortune, which is now gone because that fucking Claudite took his goddamn money.
Well, it's like a lot of his focus on, them being the same person comes from like the little Magic 8-Ball book. It's like it tells him to, keep secrets important because secrets are power or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So since Boba Fett is kind of like in this emotionally shaken position and he doesn't really know like which direction to go, he's just clinging on to that very tightly. So that could be irrational for like why he keeps bringing it up so many times and has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, I guess he's like holding on to it on his mind. That does make sense a little bit. I mean, he is a child, so he's going to rationalize things differently than an adult would do.
Fair enough. Tidus, what are your general thoughts?
I thought that the book was good. It kind of felt like I think I liked it because it was like of its underworld elements. It kind of felt like a chibi like mini version of like Coruscant Nights, but of course like way dumbed down. The prose are marginally better than the past book. I do think that we should bring up the story a bit at least. I mean, Ken kind of alluded to it, but it's like, Boba goes to Argal, like this big banking planet with Aura Singh, and he's trying to get, of course, the fortune. Like he's trying to find out his fucking little bank thing so he can get his money. Of course, Aura Singh's greedy, and she wants a piece of the pie too. So Boba abandons her, and the whole thing happens. And actually, I don't know. We can talk about the plot more in detail later on. But my thoughts is that at least my most positive thing about it is that Aura Singh is written much better than the first one. It kind of felt like the actual character. What was that? I thought one of you had said something, but
No.
it's not like Aura Singh is 1,000 times better. It's like she actually kind of feels like she is in her comics. Now, what I did kind of think was funny, but I've seen this in Course on Nights before. They describe her physique being like very muscular. And
I was gonna mention that. She keeps being described as like she's like, oh, I see a muscle mommy or not? I'm like, good lord.
I mean, yeah. She's like they describe her as like being muscular, and it's like
she's skinny as fuck. How is she described as having like muscles?
It does make sense. I mean, she was trained by Anzadi as a child, and I mean, of course, like at the Jedi Padawans, like she would have some physical training. It's just that it's so funny to see that be made a point of like at least two or three different times. They're like,
yeah, that's like the whole thing.
Like she's
want to
muscular,
get at it.
like what did we say, Ken?
That's the whole thing. Is the book just makes a point of constantly referring to her as muscular when she just doesn't look super jacked or yoked. I'm like, okay, this is kind of strange to focus on.
I mean, she can be like toned or something. I mean,
probably. She's Jedi training, probably like toned her up, but she's like, I'm just thinking of like she's bigger. Doesn't mean there are other characters I can think of from other media that are like fit the description better to me, but it's just weird that it's being made a point of.
Like I said,
there are other ways to me that being described better than muscular.
I mean, maybe. I'm just saying that I just thought it was funny that it's kind of like to my knowledge, just because I mean, this is like she doesn't really have that many prose appearances, so it is maybe one of her first ones, which kind of just outlines her physical attributes, of saying she was muscular in her fucking red jumpsuit and her fucking muscles and her calves are bulging and shit. At least, obviously, the book did not say that, but it's like, I mean, mentally envisioning it all, it's like it's funny for that reason. But Course on Nights, it says the same thing. Like she has like ripped fucking arms and like she can punch harder and faster because she has like some weird fucking muscle flex shit she has. I don't remember.
Fan art artist, get
Um,
on that. Rule 34.
yeah,
Well,
like how
I think the
what's
only
up?
reference,
Mhm.
at this point in the Clone Wars, the only place she's ever been depicted is her bounty hunter comic book, where she is depicted as pretty muscular. So I
Right.
think that's the only reference Elizabeth Hand has. So it would make sense that she sort of draws upon that because she doesn't really have anything else to go off of at this point, other than the actress from episode 1.
Well, not quite because not just Bounty Hunter. There is like multiple issues of the original Republic run that she is like. That's where like most of her personality and her characteristics come from. But even in those comics, she's not like. At least I don't know. I haven't read those comics in like three or so odd years. So, but I don't remember her being like yoked or nothing. But considering the context that she was early trained by Anzadi as a girl, I think it makes sense. Um, but beyond
She's,
that, what's up?
my goodness. She fucking chokes a Barabel, so I mean, I guess that kind of does add credence to the fact that she's described as muscular. Choking a giant lizard like is no easy feat.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like
Also,
I mean,
Barabels make an appearance in this book, by the way.
and that is cool. I mean, she's just built like that, literally. But her personality is what got me the most because, like, I felt that she was kind of too docile, and not docile. That's the wrong word. She was too tame in the previous book, where it's like she was not snarky enough and she wasn't mean enough. In this book, she's a real fucking bitch. It's like she, like Ken just mentioned, she choked out a dude gambling because like he wouldn't fucking tell her the answer that she wanted to hear in that exact moment.
Yeah,
It's
she just
like she
rages out.
I mean, yeah, she's just a rotten bitch, and like I love that because that's how she's in the comics. And there's something that really stuck out to me at the end between Boba and Aurra Singh. Granted, I don't think it makes much sense because Boba Fett should not have like this kind of insight into her psyche. But he says that the difference between me and you as a bounty hunter is that like you kill for pleasure, but you also kill out of fear. And that right there is kind of an undercurrent to Aurra Singh's character arc where it's that like she is killing and like just emotionally lashing out out of fear, fear of abandonment, and it's just kind of like a long spiral. But like I said, I don't think it makes sense for Boba Fett to have known that because it's not like he's been around her that long. It's not like she would open up about her past to Boba Fett so he would know that. I do think it's a good eye on Elizabeth Hand that she understands that facet of her character though. So props to her. It doesn't really make sense. Um Argyle is a planet. I don't think it makes fucking sense either. It's a neutral world in the Clone Wars, but has a bunch of like banking houses of like different places, and the intergalactic banking clan have a household there, but the intergalactic banking clan are part of the CIS. So I'm just kind of confused. How is this really neutral territory? And like there's Republic troopers like navigating this place through and through, but it's like they don't have any qualms of the Munes or fucking Sand Hill there. It's like I don't get it. Um Also like there's just a slew of contradictions on what is the galaxy's foremost banking world. This source or book would kind of count as one. Munilus is listed as that, and a few other sources, and even Scipio, and TCW. Of course, Scipio is from TCW, but in that show, Scipio is the galaxy's foremost banking world. But none of it fucking makes sense if you were to put all three of these together. So I don't even know how you really rationalize it. But I do think it's interesting about Argyle in the book is that they say that its villages, which undercity of it were built upon, were made millions of years ago. And that just kind of stuck out to me because seldom in Star Wars do you have like time dates saying, oh, XYZ happened a million years ago. It's like it's always thousands or maybe tens of thousands, but never like millions, you know? I just thought it was interesting. Also, one of the banking worlds, or not banking worlds, one of the banks that are listed representative of other worlds is Enzoth, the home of the Yavithans. That just kind of
Yep.
like caught me. You saw what?
I said, yep. I remember
Yeah,
that.
I mean
Yeah, I
that
caught
that,
that too.
yeah, that that's caught me off guard. Is like It's like, huh? The fucking Evethans got a goddamn bank on Argyle. Like, like, all right, now I guess like, the infidels we're having our banks with the infidels now, huh? Oh,
We're gonna take our money back from the
Yeah.
infidels.
or
Yeah,
not
why
infidels.
not?
What does he call? They called them vermin. Yeah, vermin. We're sharing our banking worlds with the vermin. Oh yeah.
Operation take back our money.
I think that was just an example of throwing as many EU references to various planets as you possibly could. It doesn't make much sense that N'Zoth, which is known for their technology and shipbuilding, it's like a shipbuilding port, right? But it's out in the middle of nowhere. So the Empire takes over. Maybe the Republic takes over at the end of the war, but it's like, how do they have all this money? It doesn't make any sense, being that they would be that far remote from the rest of the civilized galaxy. It's not like they have their starships going around and they're selling it to the core worlds or anything. So there was several references there. Some of the corporate sector worlds, I think, were mentioned.
Yes.
One of the planets from Children of the Jedi, Belsavis.
Belsavis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mahaley too from River of Chaos, the comic book. I agree with Scott's sentiment though. I feel like Elizabeth Hand was probably handed like the essential guide to planets and moons, and they're like, all right, Elizabeth, I want you to go crazy. Pick any planet you want, and then you can write it in. And she's like, oh, thank you. I'm gonna pick out any 3 of my favorite planets. Thank you very much. You know.
Like her accent. That's exactly her accent.
Yeah, that's a replica of what she sounds like.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do my Karen Travis impression. The Jedi are bloody terrible. I hate them.
Bloody terrible.
The
But
Jedi
I
are
mean,
bloody tossers.
but no, I definitely agree with I definitely agree with Scott. I was gonna say about the characters, at least one of the characters is Nori. Ken mentioned her earlier, I believe. And Nori is this Claudite character that's posing as like a BIM that leads Boba Fett astray to, ciphering his money. Um, I thought it was a little bit cliche because it just kind of harkens back to book 1 where literally Boba Fett gets conned out of like 2 dudes in a bar because they're like, "Oh yeah, man, we were good friends with your dad. Yeah, we were the best of buds, you know. Oh, we're gonna hook you up on Coruscant, and you're gonna be real safe, Boba." It's like, "Oh, is that true? You really like my dad?" And then he get
Dad, you really like my dad? You can hook me up with lots of money, Dad.
and then he gets fucking like nearly like conned, and then the Orson has to save his bitch ass. But what I'm just saying is like we kind of would see this coming. It's like you have a guy that's being overly nice, and is in a decrepit part of the fucking world. I mean, these are all strangers on this damn planet, and I think Boba Fett should at least have learned his lesson from book 1, but he clearly has not. Um, Although it's cliche, I can buy it that Boba Fett's a kid. He's still kind of getting the ropes of being a bounty hunter, and as a child, I mean, children can be very naive. So maybe he thinks about like this guy, unsuspecting guy, just being like really fucking nice. He's like, "Oh yeah, maybe he really is there for me. Maybe he can help me get my dad's fortune. Yeah,
Maybe this is the one. Maybe he's not a complete asshole
maybe,
scumbag.
maybe he's a good guy. I can get my dad's fortune now. Yeah."
Also,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I
Huh?
did not see the whole twist of the dude being a Claudite like coming. I did
I
not
didn't
expect that.
I
I
didn't
was
see
like,
that
what?
shit coming. I didn't see that shit coming either. But it's like, but I did see him like betraying him because I mean
Yeah.
it's almost like it's
Yeah.
written in the fucking stars, dog. It's like you have a guy who's being overly nice, and it's about money. And it's like I don't know. It just seemed like you could tell. You could just tell from the start. Um, but I don't know. I think that it's good setup for later on books where like Boba Fett kind of takes the advice of the book more seriously because he knows that I can't be fucking around. I can't be acting like a kid this whole time. Maybe I need to take my dad's words a little bit more seriously. Um, it makes him failable because I think if Boba Fett was just out the gate making the smartest moves always, then there wouldn't be much conflict, you know?
Mhm.
And you can't really drive a story necessarily without conflict. So I mean it all kind of works out in the end. But I don't know. I mean that's pretty much it. I just think two last things is that Sandhill's involvement, it kind of was confusing. I think I mentioned it before. It's like I don't know why the fuck he was not arrested by the Republic, or he was not even like, questioned or anything about that. And my last thing I will say is that there was a thing about mortality in it that I liked, because it was something from Django. Django had said in one of his little dumbass 8-ball messages that, like, Boba, you know, I'm a badass, but sometimes even I fear death. But I don't ever show it because you can't show fear in the face of death. That's me paraphrasing greatly in an ironic sense. But I'm just meaning that it's Jango Fett being vulnerable, and he's saying that, like, I'm a bad motherfucker, but I'm still scared of dying. And Boba kind of takes that lessons where, like, I can still feel fear, but I can't show it. Otherwise, I'll be taken advantage of.
Right. I think the lesson is fear will help you out.
Right,
There's some method of self-preservation cooked in there if you're willing to trust your instincts, and fear is one of those instincts.
right. So I thought that was pretty good. Um, Aside from that, I think that the clone cadet stuff from earlier was a little bit dumb. Where it's like there's the odds and the fucking evens, and I was just kind of like scratching, my ball hairs, and I was like, what? Because, like, I don't know. I mean, that I never heard like that piece of lore like reference in anything again. That's kind of like, it was like fresh news to me upon rereading this. And I was like, huh? They have different fucking headsets because based on their numbers, if they're odd or even numbers. I don't know. But I also like kind of like soy jacking when Boba Fett gave him a number. He's like, I'm 1313. I was like, ooh, that's just like the game, guys. Yeah,
Just like
the
the
game.
game.
Yeah, just like the game, guys.
Just like the canceled game that'll never get made. Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all my thoughts. I'm done ranting. You, Lance or Scott?
Yeah. So I don't want to roast this book, but it feels like I'm going to. This book, unlike Crossfire, which Crossfire was exactly like I remember. I remember Maze of Deception and the rest of these books being pretty good, like getting better over time. And I read this and I was just disappointed. I don't know what I was thinking of, thinking this book was good. It feels like it goes in a million different directions. Like the gist of this book is once they're on Argao, Boba Fett meets some alien. Aura Singh finds them. Boba escapes. They get separated, or the alien gets killed, which or whatever. Then Boba Fett finds a new alien to befriend or help him out. Then Aura Singh finds them, and then Boba Fett escapes again. Rinse and repeat until he gets off the planet with his money. From the very first line in this book, Aura's characterization is not very good. She says, "I need you." The first line of the book, referring to Boba. And when they land on Argao, she says to him, "Come on, kid, let's go get rich." So the whole premise of Aura's motivations here are to get Jango Fett's money. So Jango Fett, he's a well-known, renowned bounty hunter. I'm sure he's very successful. I'm sure he made a lot of credits, most notably in the bounty hunter game where he gets the money from Count Dooku for the clone army. But that's only enough for him to like retire from bounty hunter. That's a point in the video game. It's not this like vast fortune that it's made out to be. And I feel like as these books go along, the amount of money that we're talking about, it seems to be a lot more. And I just don't think that is. And even if Jango Fett is really rich compared to Aura, who's also a bounty hunter, also very successful, you would think she'd have a lot of money too. So what's her motivation here? I always thought her being a bounty hunter was a way to like strike at the Jedi, to get back at the Jedi, not really to get rich, but her main motivation in this book and the book before is to get Jango's credit. So she uses Boba throughout. There's one point in the story where she just gets fed up with chasing Boba around the city and is just ready to get rid of him. Like, okay, that's it, kid. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna get rid of you, because Boba leads her all around the Undercity, and really the only way out is through Slave One, unless he were to buy another ship. But if she really thought about it, instead of chasing him from level to level, she'd just stay by the Slave One and take care of it, get out that way. The clone troopers on Argao, Tidus talked about it. So Argao is part of the Republic, it says in this book. So it's a member of the Republic. That's why the clone troopers are there. And really, I think the clone troopers are there just so one of the young troopers can interact with Boba and they can switch up. So there's one point where Aurra Sing catches the clone instead of Boba because they look exactly alike because they're clones. But then you also have the fact that Argao is part of the Intergalactic Banking Clan, which is a separatist entity. But then it also says when they're about to land, you're entering the neutral zone. So Argao is a neutral zone. I think there was a reference to that where you're not allowed weapons off planet.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of weapons with all the clone troopers there, and it just that doesn't really make sense. I know
that was the confusion. I don't mean to like interrupt you, or I just want to like interject, kind of add what you're saying is that like it does state it's in the core, like it's a Republic world, but the actual servers are like, oh, we're in the world, this is neutrality, it's neutral zone. So it can't really even make up its mind. And then like Intergalactic Bank Clan, like you said, a separatist entity, how does it all fit together? You can go on.
Yeah. So proofreading would have took care of this. I feel like this book didn't get like an extra set of eyes that could have caught some of this, or at least made it more clear. There's a lot of repetitive stuff. So they'll explain what happens 5 times in a row. And you're reminded every chapter that Boba knows Count Dooku is Tyrannus. And he uses that information at various points in this book to get out of jail free, so to speak. So he uses it. He thinks like Sand Hill might want this information. So he offers this information to Vice Chair Koss later on. But that's really his only angle. Like at one point, he follows this Twi'lek through the Undercity, who he thinks might be Bib Fortuna, because he thinks back to what his book tells that the message his father left him to meet Jabba, and Jabba will teach him some wisdom or whatever. So he's running around the Undercity trying to get to the upper levels to access his bank account, but he sort of gets sidetracked trying to find Jabba. But even if he were to find Jabba down there, he doesn't really have an angle besides the knowledge Tyrannus is Dooku to benefit him in any way, other than find a way out, maybe. So he's scatterbrained. It doesn't really have a sense of direction. And the book doesn't have much of a direction overall. It's just the rinse and repeat where Nuri, the Bim, who actually turns out to be a Clawdike, so he's a con artist. He meets up with Boba in an attempt to help him out to access the bank account for a fee. So he tries to do that, and his cover story is that he's a money changer, right? Very noble vocation. I guess it would make sense being a banking planet and all, but if you're a con artist, why would you have a shady cover? You could just say, well, you're a travel agent or something. So something that you would be believable to somebody that you're approaching to gain some trustworthiness. But no, it doesn't seem to be that. And then the Bothan, who when they get to the Undercity, actually, let me back up. When Nuri and Boba walk through the upper levels, they see Sand Hills there. And Nuri says, that's Sand Hill. He's one of the most powerful men in the galaxy or whatever. And they forget that because when they go to the Undercity, one of these, the Bothan comes up to him. I forget the name. Have Sin, who's like an information broker. Nuri pays for that information that Sand Hill's there. I was like, you guys just saw Sand Hill. Like, what are you paying for this information? It's like a weird revelation. Like just the chapter before, or 2 chapters before, they encountered him. But Sandhill's in the Undercity, and he's meeting with Durga the Hutt, or Borga the Hutt. Gorga. And there's an interesting angle, and it's probably the only angle that's relevant to the greater Clone Wars, that Sandhill's trying to get the Hutts to join the Confederacy, the Separatists. So that's interesting. We don't see that again until Dave Filoni's Clone Wars. So I had forgotten all about that. So that was a really interesting angle. But the rest is just Boba Fett kind of wandering through the Undercity. At one point, he's trying to get a Jawa disguise to sneak into one of the clubs to try to find Bib Fortuna and Jabba, even though it's not really clear that they're there or not. And he finds a hand in the wreckage, like just body parts going through there, trying to find a disguise. But then this Bim that turns out to be a Claudite steals Boba's money, and at that point, Boba finds out what bank his money's in. So it's in the Kuat bank, and Boba pretends to be a bounty hunter trying to follow like Bib Fortuna, trying to track down. So there's almost like a bounty hunter in training part of this story, where he goes through tracking people through the Undercity. And there's one part where he gets to a casino, and there's some Barabels playing three-handed solitaire. So there might be an inside joke I'm not aware of there, but that I don't know how you play three-handed solitaire. And Sandhill tries to get the Hutts to join the Separatists, and there's Vice Chair Koss, who Aura Singh actually kills at the end there, who's Sandhill's right-hand man. And eventually Aura gets arrested. The other thing is Aura tries to bring her weapons in there, and she should know better than that. Like, she gets caught right from the beginning. So
you got to remember, she buys citizenship at the end.
Yeah, she tries to buy citizenship, but at the end they arrest her and they find out it's forged. So it doesn't really do her any benefit. So Boba Fett ends up getting some of his credits. Most of it's stolen, but he fuels up the Slave One and gets out of there. So it's kind of a roundabout way. You'd think with the story and Argao and the setting that's only mentioned in the Marvel comics, you could come up with a more interesting story, but it doesn't really have much of a sense of direction. So I didn't like it. It's worse than I remembered, but those are my overall thoughts.
Fair enough. Well, my thoughts are, it was okay. You know, it didn't like make me want to like rip my head off or anything, but I did notice a lot of the random references that were in it to like just like Inzoth, and I did like that Barabels were in it. Of course, that's Saba Sabatine's species from NJO. There was a Bim from Bimasari, or Bima Sarai. I don't know how you pronounce that planet's name. There was a Bothan, so that's another EU species. So there's like a lot of EU stuff in it, which is good, but kind of like how you guys mentioned, it's also bad because like Insoth is now somehow a banking planet, even though we know its history. So
they just have accounts there. They're not part of the banking clan. They just have. So it's said that each planet in the galaxy has their treasury funds stored in Argao, which is kind of weird. There's no electronic transfer technology anywhere throughout the galaxy. There's this planet with all these deposits, and they have precious metals and credits there. There's not too many wire transfers, except for the part where the Claudite steals the money from Boba. He does that kind of through electronic transfer, but the rest is precious metals and stuff.
Yeah, Enzoff is not like Scott said, not actual banking world. It just has a bank on Argao.
Oh, okay. That's still weird because it's just, when I think of Inzoth, I think of a planet that's fairly unknown, that not really many people know about.
Right.
Given its history and the species that inhabit it. So, cool reference. It's a planet from the Black Fleet Crisis, but other than that,
it doesn't make sense because
It doesn't.
the Yavithans are specious. Like they
Yeah.
wouldn't want to have a bank like anywhere near like the populated galaxy.
Right. Especially on like a core world, like well, Argyle's is that a core world
Yeah,
or
it
it
they
is?
say
Okay.
they say it's in the core. Yeah,
So there you go. Like I say, a neat little niche reference, you know, to a bantam species or bantam planet, but anyway. Um I mean, I was just bored with it because it just felt like a constant like goose chase throughout the whole thing. And you know, it was just Boba running from or seeing. But I mean, like the Gorg of the Hut was a cool reference. If you guys don't know, the Gorga first appeared in what was it? I
Death
forgot
Lies
it.
Treachery. It's one of those
Yeah, yeah, it's
Jabba comics. He was in Jabba Tape
yeah,
as well.
yeah. And then he showed up in TCW. He was, you know, if you remember the Hut Council, he was the Hut with the glasses or the
yeah,
bite.
the
No,
fucking
the
monocle.
monocle. Yeah, I was trying to think of the word, but he was the Hut with the monocle. That was Gorga the Hut, which was it was cool to that. You know, that's a
Badass.
again. It was a cool little you know EU character from
It was cool,
an
but
earlier comic.
a missed opportunity to not use Zorba the Hutt.
Yeah, that would have been nice. You know, that would have been cool. But either way, it's a neat little. I like seeing Hutts in the Hut families, and you know, seeing anything with them is always cool to me. Um, and I mean, y'all already went over the plot. I mean, I felt it was pretty wasn't bad, but you know, it wasn't like super enjoyable. Um, I guess that's kind of. I'm trying to think of what else I can say about it. The Claudite twist, like Ken brought up, was I was kind of shocked at that too. I thought it was actually kind of cool. Because I think Claudites we don't really see a whole lot of them outside of Attack of the Clones. So, um,
Even though that you can see that Boba Fett was going to be double crossed by him, Boba Fett actually, when he first meets him, he's pretty doubtful he could trust him, but he just lets him try to see what happens. So it's almost like
right,
him trying to get some experience in how other aliens behave and how to track certain people, because he thinks these are skills he could use as a bounty hunter. He thinks these are skills he needs to learn because of
right.
what his father told him. So he kind of lets that play out, even though it ends up obviously turning out the way he
Yeah,
thought
it like
initially.
blows up in his face.
Yep. There's something I do want to mention, and I remember last episode, of course, we did Crossfire, and that book, you know, towards the end, you know, Orsing is like, well, I need you because I need I need Jango Fett's DNA to open up this. I don't remember what it was. Well, this book kind of explains why she didn't get a normal clones because it just required an unaltered clone. So, and as far as Orsing, I guess knows, Boba is the only one who was an unaltered clone.
Well, I thought the
So,
altering was growth acceleration.
Well, it is, but that is what Lance is saying is true. It's like the book does say that he is different in his
Yeah.
eyes because he's an unaltered clone. I don't think it
right,
logically doesn't make any fucking sense because, like you're saying, Scott, it's true that the difference is aging. But I will say with clones is that clones have very minute imperfections. So maybe there's like some fucking imperfection universally in them where it's like it's not the same thing as Boba. Like Boba just like maybe the purest strain of a clone.
Yeah, I think they checked themselves later on because he unlocks his bank account not only with his DNA, which they said initially. So it uses your DNA plus your retinal scan. So I guess the retinal scan could be different between identical DNA clones.
Right.
right,
But that's their kind of cop out, really, because the altering is growth acceleration. So Boba, Django wants an unaltered clone for himself as his son. That's Boba
Right.
Fett, but it's not like they're infusing, DNA from famous Republic pilots or anything to like get super soldiers. It's just Django's DNA.
I don't know,
Right.
because I mean, like I'm saying, it's like clones. At least that's like how some retcons explain things, like how clones can have like different like grades of hair, different little subtle voice changes. It's because like the cloning process is imperfect. It's like a lot of clones have diversity among themselves. It's because like the process is not perfect. And Boba is like the closest you will get to like a purebred Django clone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think the very fact that, yeah, really their only difference, the clones, is genetic or growth acceleration, but they're still technically not a pure clone. And I
They're
think
not.
that makes sense to me
Mhm.
why, she would need Aurra Sing would need Boba, because even though that's a small detail, and other than that they are the same, it's still genetic, alteration. So
Yeah.
it makes sense to me. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, I mean, like the clones, they're all clones of the same person, but they're all different in their own ways. It's like I think canon explained that like Rex like dyed his hair or some shit. But in the EU, as far as the EU is concerned, like Rex's hair is naturally blonde. So I don't know how the fuck that shit works. They just said like he just came out that way.
Hmm. I think that honestly the whole um he was just naturally blonde. I think
Yeah.
I think it
So
makes it gives a little bit more like the fact that they can be a little bit more diverse. I don't know.
I guess there could be mutation if you explain it that way. It's just very convenient in this story, and every story that Aurra Sing's had this predicament of tracking down Boba Fett. There's also been clones, Republic clone troopers also there in every story. So it's kind of funny.
I mean, that's all
Yeah.
lies and it's mutations. Like they're all a little bit mutated in different ways.
Yep. Well, that's kind of all I have to say about it. Before we move on to the next story, is there anything else that you guys would like to add to it?
I just think it's stupid for Sand Hill to meet the Hutts on a secret meeting on a planet that is part of the Republic and has a Republic garrison on it. I mean, there's gunships and clone troopers walking around, and he's walking through not only the public part of it, because Argal is a pyramid with different levels. So he's walking, I think, on the second level when Boba first sees him. But then he also goes to the Undercity, which is full of murderers and bandits and lots of immoral, like gambling stuff going on there. Kind of a weird place to have a meeting like that.
Well, I don't really think it's weird that they're on a Republic planet, and the reason why is, I mean, there was isn't it like 2 or 3 times when Dooku meets Palpatine on Coruscant,
Yeah.
like during the Clone Wars? So
Yeah.
I think if a planet is big enough, and if it's more of a metropolis or city planet, I guess metropolis, that word works too, but it can kind of make sense. And I think with like the banking clan, I mean, was it known at this point that they were part of the Separatists,
Yeah.
or was
It
it still a
wasn't.
secret?
No, it was known, and that's why I was saying like that's it's like it really just kind of like rubbed my brain the wrong way, because it's like any corporation that is part of the Confederacy at this point, they are known to be in league with them.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm just saying. Like, how the fuck is Sand Hill just walking around parading like a jackass, and like the clones are like, that guy with the long head is kind of working for the enemy.
Yeah, the whole reason why the Republic's there is because they hear there's separatist activity on the planet.
Yeah,
Like, there might be separatists. Yeah, there's a
yeah.
separatist leader. There's a leader of the council right there.
I mean, literally.
It just going back to what you were saying about Dooku on Coruscant real quick. It's established, I think, that a solar sailor has cloaking technology, and that's how he sort of sneaks in and hangs out at the works, which is that part that you see in episode 2 or whatever, where he meets Darth Sidious. So he sort of sneaks in there, and that makes a little bit more sense because he's a Jedi, or he's a Sith, but he used to be a Jedi, so he can kind of sneak around probably more easily than someone like Sand Hill.
I mean, maybe Sandhill just blends in with the crowds. Who knows?
Yeah, except
you know,
except Boba's friend like points him out in the crowd, like that's Sand Hill, one of the most powerful guys in the galaxy. Like, yeah, I know.
well, I don't know. Maybe the clones are just dumb. I don't know.
I just don't think like Elizabeth Han was like considering like what the fuck are like contextualizing Argo in that way. I don't think she realized the ramifications of it because what I'm saying, it does not mesh with Munilus because like the whole point of Munilus is that is the throne world of the banking clan. That is the galaxy's banking world. Like, it's definitive banking world. But if that is the lore, then what the fuck is Argyle then? What is Argyle even in the grand like picture of the Clone Wars?
Well, it seems like Argao is the place where the deposits are stored. So it's the storehouse full of the credits and the precious metals, where Moonalist is the intergalactic banking clan capital. And then I don't know what the heck Scipio is. Just come up with your own explanation. But that's TCW for you.
I don't know. Maybe like Sandhill, maybe he had like a decoy or something on Moonalist, and as far as the Republic knew, that's where he was at. So maybe they weren't even expecting someone like him to be on Argyle. So maybe they just thought it was like a random moon. I don't know. But who knows?
I don't know at this point.
Well, is there anything else you guys would like to add?
No.
I have
All right.
one final thought. And it's about that damn clone shit. The cadet. I think I had mentioned it earlier, but I just gotta reiterate again. I think it is dumb as hell that the kid asked Boba, "Oi, is your headset gold or is it black? Cause you know us cadets go by order even." And then Boba's like, "What order even? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh wait, now I remember Dad telling me about And I don't know. I just think that's a little just like kind of like dumb lore to me. It's like you denote what fucking like headsets you wear. Because I need to see the Attack of the Clones scene now, just because of that. It pisses me off so bad. I got to rewatch the scene and see if they actually had different colored headsets on. Because if
I
not,
don't
that's
think
just
they did.
They did it. Well, that's just pulling some shit out
Uh,
the ass. Then saying, well, oh yeah, like the odd and even numbers got different fucking headsets as a kid. It's like, huh?
It's probably something stupid like from the visual dictionary or something that they tried to include in there. But Boba's like, yeah, I'm whatever you are. Like he just kind of gives a stupid nonchalant answer.
I mean, it probably is. Like, you're probably right, Scott. That shit is that is some visual dictionary ass shit. Because like they just point out like anything in them damn books, and they'll call like I don't know. They call like the fucking stone is like reminiscent of green. It's like, oh yeah, this is a galactic Earth rock or some shit.
Yeah. And the only reason the Republic's on this planet is so that there's a cadet clone that Aura Singh can mix up Boba Fett and this cadet with. Like that's the only reason. That's the only plot point. That's the only reason Argao is part of the Republic. That's established in the beginning of this book.
Oi, oi, oi.
Well, so is there anything else that you guys would like to add?
Nope.
Nada.
I'm good.
Nope.
Well, let's move on to the last story that we are going to review for today, which is Star Wars Tales number 14, which is, I forgot the name of it.
It's called Tides of Terror.
Tides of Terror. It's a Aayla Secura Kit Fisto story. I know we kind of mentioned the plot earlier. There was a nanovirus among the clones. It was created by a Kaminoan who was a separatist, and basically they fight the separatists. They end up killing him, and meanwhile, Kit Fisto has to save Aayla Secura's life by kissing her because they're in water. So it was like what, 5-6 pages long. It's pretty
That
short.
shit, like 8-9 pages. It was pitifully short.
Yeah, I mean, it was all right. It wasn't bad. It was actually nice to see some proper Clone Wars stuff, instead of just Boba Fett stuff. It was nice to get away from Boba Fett for a few pages. So
about time.
Yeah, about time get away from Boba Fett. But I mean, it was fine. It wasn't too bad. What'd y'all think?
It was a good story. I just find the idea of like the Separatists putting a virus on the clones absurd.
I mean, why do you find it absurd?
It's just like this is one of the easiest ways to disable the clone army. Just put a whole virus in them, and then force the Kaminoans to have to just like either find a new because if they could just make a virus that can infect the clones, it just feels too easy. Just end the war right then and there.
Yeah, well, it makes sense to go after Geonosis because that's where they get all of their pilots. That's where they get all of their soldiers. So to create a nano virus, the thing about a battle like this or a plot like this is who is behind this? Is this Count Dooku? Because he doesn't want to end the war too early, right? So if you kill off the Republic's army too early, you don't have the attrition that the Clone Wars was designed to do, to sort of wear down the Jedi so that the Sith could take over the galaxy later on. So there's sort of two angles you can look at this from. One is just the neutral observer from the Clone Wars. It's like, okay, Republic versus Separatists. Yeah, it would make sense that the Separatists would attack Kamino. But then if you're from the Separatist mindset, who was behind this plot? If it was something from the very top, if it was something from Count Dooku, you don't want this to tip the tide of the war too much, because then the Separatists win too early. So that's what I was constantly thinking about. And I also think about that as when we hit the Republic comics with the Defense of Kamino. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I was gonna say to that about who is behind this. The comic kind of explicitly says who, and it's also what I was gonna say to you, Ken, is that like the doctor. I don't remember the fucking Kaminoan's name. I just remember it was something name.
I don't think she was given a name.
No, he was given a name. I just don't remember. It's like some Kaminoan bullshit, you know. What's that?
Yeah, I guess I just forgot.
No,
The
but did you say
character's name?
something?
No.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say that like the character himself, he says that the reason he did it is because he felt that his scientific work was usurped by his mentor, or not his mentor, his fucking protege, and he thought that he could get back at that. Like it was a completely self-interested plot.
Yeah.
Where it's like he wanted to weaken the clone army to get back at what he felt like his invention was stolen from him. And I think if Dooku was truly like aware of this fucker, like what he was doing, he probably would have had him killed.
That's true.
Yeah,
I do think this guy's whole thing. He's too petty, way too petty to be an asset to the Separatists. This dude just wanted to do this shit because it was like fucking my stolen research. Oh, it's being usurped. This guy holds no value to the Separatists as like an asset. He's too petty. So
Yeah,
I do think Dooku would have him killed.
He says, for years, I toiled under Santa while she took credit for my accomplishments. With the credits, the Separatists, so he was paid by the Separatists to create this nanovirus, have paid me. I'll finally be able to make a name for myself. So he was paid off by the Separatists. So my question is just like, who in Separatist leadership developed this plan? Who carried this out? Because you don't want to destroy the Republic too early.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
it
it's
could have
like
been Newt Gunray, could have been Sand Hill, could have been really anyone.
Anyone really.
It could have been.
They're not aware. They're not aware
Right.
what's going on. Really.
It could have been any of the leaders. I think either Shumai or Wat Tambor could have behind it hypothetically, because they specialize in bioweapons and whatnot. But I don't know. I was gonna say that I don't think that this was meant to completely annihilate the clone army, because think back to hard contact, like I said at the beginning. On the mission to Queta, the nanovirus there, it was not designed to completely kill the clone army. It was simply to thin the army so the CIS would have more of a winning chance. I think that kind of applies the problem in itself, because if you know the Clone Wars chronology, the CIS are winning the first early months.
Yeah, that's right. Geonosis, like
Right.
the droid factories on Geonosis were all taken out. They had to evacuate that planet. They lost a whole bunch of ships. And that,
Yeah.
Right. Right, but like even then, like all the stories afterwards, even the Republic comics and other stuff that we'll get to is like the CIS are winning the fight. I mean, in Shatterpoint, in reference to like the CIS are like kicking our ass. So I don't think hard content. It doesn't make sense for that plot point saying like we need to thin their ranks before they get too big. But like I mean, you're fucking winning, dog. It's like that's just kind of overkill.
yeah, you just want to even it out. But
Right.
creating a nanovirus that could potentially kill every genetic replica of the clone trooper that they're using, I mean, that's risky to me. But it's a big plan. It's a big, grandiose plan that's inserted into this Tales, 10-page comic. I don't think they have the space to do this story justice. I mean, it's fine for what it is. It's good artwork. It's Kit Fisto, Ayla. Yeah, I get it. But it seems like a big story to sort of jam in this short of a comic.
I mean,
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's way too short, way too important of a plot line to be putting a Tales going.
I mean, I don't know. Like the newest sense of chronology talks about this, where it's like bioweapons are kind of like a through line in the Clone Wars. Where it's like it begins with this kind of. It's very minute here, but then in what is the volume? I think it's the second volume of the Clone Wars comics we'll be reading. Sacrifices or what? I don't remember what the fuck it was called. It says Obi-Wan on the cover. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And it's like the Omadune mission. The plague, like the fucking gas plague that like kills all the Gungans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that was a bioweapon made by like a girl from Jedi Apprentice, Jenazan Arbor. But the new sense of chronology just basically says like the CIS were trying to overemphasize the use of biological weapons to thin the Republic ranks at any cost. Which I understand that, but it's like I said earlier, my problem with that is that why would you want to thin their ranks when you're already on the winning side?
Fair enough.
I guess
Yeah,
you
that's
could
a point.
always sort of like balance it out, create more or less droids to sort of counter whatever the Republic is throwing at you. So because you have that variability, you could try a whole bunch of different things. But they go after like these super weapons, the Dark Reaper project and all this. So they have these grandiose plans from the very beginning where it's just I'm not sure they need all this right away.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I agree with your sentiment. Like last episodes, like it's too big too soon.
Yeah, and especially for a comic this short, it doesn't even do it justice. I mean, it sort of wraps up that they can create a vaccine for this virus because they have they have the injector that they tried to kill Ayla with, but they theoretically the Separatists could create another virus, another strain. And
Yeah, and that's what they did. That's what they did in Republic Commando.
Right, exactly. And the Republic needs to step up security on Camino. If this is your planet that you're training all your troops, that you're creating your troops like from birth and raising them, all your pilots, everything, you need to protect this at all costs. And the security is way too thin on Camino.
Amen.
Well, is there anything else y'all would like to add for this particular story?
I do think that
what's up?
the Kamino and double agent's death was funny. He just like his head like melted off.
Yeah, he just gets fucking gets took out of his own product.
Yeah, he gets killed by his own product. It's like the dude got killed by his own fan.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that was
fucking from Equalizer.
God damn it! Don't pick that up.
But I was gonna give I mean I kind of gave my thoughts in like the conversation with Scott and Ken and you, but I thought the comic was mid, bro. And like I know it's not really saying much as a goddamn 10-page Tales comic, but like I thought that shit was like even for like Tales comics that was just painfully mid.
Yeah,
And
it was okay.
yeah, and it's only like long-term consequence, which is barely a consequence, if anything, is that it has the result of one interaction between Kit Fisto and Ayla in Republic Comics, where Kit is trying to like get touchy with her. And Ayla's like, it's not the Jedi way. Oh, Ayla, don't deny me now. You know that you like me and you find me sexy, no?
Oh,
But of
no
course,
comment.
no fucking comment.
Yeah,
But
Ayla, man, you know you want it.
you know you want the Kid Fisto special.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah, the look Ayla gets gives
Kid
Kit
Fisto,
in
you
the,
want me the tweet. I can't do a French accent. You
I
want
mean,
my croissant?
we haven't seen that look on Ayla's face since she turned to the dark side into the Republic, the early Republic comics, right?
That is true. But I don't know. It's like it's mediocre. It's very
I think the
very.
artwork's good.
Artwork's
It's fun.
decent.
I don't
It's
know.
not
The art is kind of so. This is not no.
the
Jan
art looked
Buscema.
weird at
It-
certain places. I was
Right.
like, this looks off.
It is not Jan Buscema, but I will say that for Tale standards, it's okay.
Yeah,
Honestly,
definitely.
there's better art in Tales. Like the Kyle Katarn comic has better art than this.
It's one of the better ones, though, for sure. The rest of them are cartoon.
Yeah.
Like the story before and the story after both have worse artwork than this one.
Yep.
Well, I think that's a wrap. I think. What do you have anything else?
No.
No, I'm good. I've said everything I wanted to say for this stream.
Well, I think yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end it right here, guys. So thanks everyone for watching. Next episode, finally, we're onto the comic books.
Woo! Comics.
So
The public.
next episode, we're gonna be doing Clone Wars Volume 1, Defense of Camino. And then after that, we're gonna do Clone Wars Adventures Volume 8, and then after that, Clone Wars Adventures Volume 9. So next 3 episodes will just be pure comics. So I can't wait to do that.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't wait for the Defense of Camino.
I can't wait for comics because this is like the main part of the multimedia project, the damn comic books.
Comic slop.
So-
Comic slop.
It's the main event.
Comic slab! I can't get enough of it.
Dead. It's the main event. Dead.
Boba, pipe down.
Hey.
We're getting to the comics.
Finally, which if y'all are curious, I have it right here. Let me see. Defense of Camino has issues 49 and 50, Republic, and then it also has a Dark Horse comic book, Star Wars Jedi Mace Windu. So we're gonna read all those and review it for next episode. So
Awesome.
and that episode should be coming out fairly quickly within like the next week because this comic is short. So and that's all we're doing. So that's all we've got today. Thank y'all very much for watching. Y'all have a good one. May the force be with you.
Peace.
Always.